You are listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of No Other Pod.
Mushroom Kingdom!
Oh, no, don't get me started on that. I'm Jimmy, along with my good buddy, not Chris Pratt. His name is Dan. Daniel Kooser, what is going on, my friend?
Kooz Mario, baby. Kooz Mario.
Well, you would have been better than Chris Pratt, I'll tell you that.
That was an old AOL screen name, by the way. Kooz Mario.
Kooz Mario? Were you a big Super Mario guy?
Pretty sure it's my Be Real name or my Snapchat.
Oh,
I don't know.
Play old Super Mario 64 days or what?
I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. Good times.
Kooz Mario. Well, hit him up. AOL.
Yeah,
AIM, if you still got it.
Come get it.
How's it going, my friend?
Oh, dude, going all right. Found this sweet headband, this sweet sporting giveaway.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to wear that.
I enjoy this look that you're going on. It's like you're slowly transforming. If you're going to be like a Sporting KC themed WWE wrestler, I imagine this is your look coming out.
I do look like I need to be dabbing on these fools.
Yeah. So,
No, I'm selling merch. Get that tank top.
Do it. Hit us up. bit.ly.com/nootherpod. You can see that merch.
It's only faded because I wear it a lot.
There's always sales going on. Go check it out. They sent me an email the other day. It's probably like 30% off right now. There's always, if it's never not on sale, just wait like a week and it'll be on sale. So
they're trying to set up a holiday gift guide for us. I saw.
I know we don't have enough merch to be a holiday gift guide, but I feel bad. They email us and I'm like, no,
designs. Hey, we need to get some more designs in there. We'll cook some stuff up. We'll cook it.
If what do y'all want to see? Let us know. We'll see what we can do. So
we'll get it done.
We don't have any reviews to read this week, but if you leave us a 5-star rating and review, we'll be happy to read it. We read them all, good or bad. We prefer good.
Yeah,
5-star would be great if you leave it for us, and we'll read it here on air. So thank you for those of you who have done it. Asking those of you who have not to go ahead and do it. But yeah, there's a few things to get into this week. Some U.S. men's national team controversy that we want to talk about.
Yeah, a little bit of that.
Pretty sure Daniel Shallowy is trying to fight Dana White.
He's trying to fight somebody.
I'm going to talk about that. But we would be remiss if we did not start on a little bit of a more somber note. I'm sure if you are listening to this podcast, you are aware of the news involving Grant Wahl. A very well-known soccer journalist who has been covering soccer and other sports for the better part of, 3 decades here. A Kansas City native, passed suddenly at the end of the Argentina-Netherlands game while covering the World Cup in Qatar. We're not going to recount all the details of what happened. There's enough accounts online but, Grant was somebody who, if you were a soccer fan in the United States, it was impossible for you not to have come across something that Grant Wahl did, whether it was a podcast or an article or a book or something at some point in your life, whether you agreed with him or not on his takes.
Right. Whether you fought with him or not.
He shaped some aspect of your view on the world's game. And
big into KU basketball too. So, Lawrence, people know him.
He's a Jayhawk.
KU people know him. So
he wrote the initial Sports Illustrated cover story that introduced the world to LeBron James when he was in high school.
Yeah.
Grant's been around for a long time.
He was on the cover for the KU National Championships edition.
Right. And so obviously it's heartbreaking whenever somebody passes unexpectedly. But this is
not
just,
even old, man. A ripe 49. Like, what the hell? It just doesn't seem right. It feels weird. Makes me scared to travel a little bit. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with anything, but like getting sick and passing somewhere else just seems like not the way you imagine to go.
Yeah, it's obviously I feel most for his wife and his family. His wife is one of the most preeminent virologist, immunologist, doctors in the entire world. She was on Joe Biden's COVID task force.
Holy shit.
So yeah, this is, and I never knew Grant personally. I maybe interacted with him once in a press box.
Hey, I have a list of guests I wanted to have on here, and I was very sad because I did want to have Grant on at some point to make that happen,
Well, and it's one of those things that, not to get too philosophical, but whenever someone passes at a young age, you see all the people that are like, oh, don't wait to say things that you wish you would have said, or make sure you tell people that you care about them, or don't wait to talk to anybody. And I think it's one of those things, and like our podcast is like the lowest of the low priorities in terms of what Grant Wahl, everything that's going on right there. But I think it's just a representative story, maybe, that is, for me, it's like, there's always time. You always think there's going to be time. We can always get him later, and you never know.
You might not make it home from work in your car. Like, you don't even know. I mean, wrecks happen, and it's like, let's cry together. You want to cry because tomorrow's not guaranteed, and that's how you need to think of it. This guy was doing what everyone wants to do: go to a World Cup, cover a World Cup,
8 straight.
It's wild.
He had just got honored for being at 8 straight, and like I said, I think I've spoken to him very briefly in a press box. We were cordial. We didn't know each other, but yeah. I think one of the things that struck me from reading from an outsider, somebody who doesn't know him, knows of him but doesn't know him, is every single story you see from people who have interacted with Grant is basically, he helped me and he didn't have to. He vouched for me when he didn't need to. He got me a job when he had no reason to. And I only can hope that one day when I pass, whether it's tomorrow or 50 years from now, there are enough people that I've interacted with who could say similar things of me. But I think, he was one who had his own style, one who had his own style. And sometimes he was a little bit more, blunt about some things, particularly around morals and ethics that he truly believed in. And I think this World Cup was no different. I mean, he was renowned for wearing that shirt that had the rainbow colors on that he got detained for. And then not one day before he passed, he put out an article on his Substack that was talking about how apathetic, and even beyond apathetic, just the disdain, if you will, that the Qatari World Cup organizers had for the deaths of migrant workers that are still ongoing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It's just, he's going to leave a hole in American soccer media that it's probably going to take multiple people to fill. Again, whether he was your favorite or not, like, this isn't an easy thing to deal with. So
wow, man. I don't even know what to say about it.
I guess that's just, hey, our thoughts, and if you're the praying type, prayers go out to his family and loved ones. I'm sure it's tough right now. His brother has been tweeting sort of updates. It sounds like they have his body back in the United States now at the time of this recording. We don't know any more details. Hopefully they can do an independent investigation. There are all sorts of theories out there, and we're not really getting into those. I mean, my hope, sounds weird to say this, but my hope is that now that it's happened, it was just a freak natural cause, because I think it might be harder if there was anything else at play. But
this shit happens all the time, dude. I mean, some 40-some-year-old just has a heart attack, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
you don't expect that. So
but I think I've mentioned before, I'm a big fan of the Dan Le Batard show, and Grant worked with them alongside the Cooligans, alongside something. If you want to know a little bit about Grant, they put out on his Football with Grant Wahl podcast, one of the producers there just did a little 8-minute tribute. He worked with Grant Wahl. His name was Chris Whittingham. He worked with Grant Wahl very closely, and I think it's a fitting tribute. So if you want to learn more about Grant and his story, I would suggest go listen to the latest episode of Football with Grant Wahl, and it's a very good remembrance of Grant. So, so yeah, that's that. Sporting KC. I mean, there's no good way to transition.
Glad we could kick it off for you. Good
Sporting
stuff.
KC put out a story. Peter Vermees made a comment. You can read more about it there. But yeah, so no good way to transition. So we'll just do this as clumsily as we can.
Sure.
And transition into other stuff.
Put it on people that ask questions. Be like, we got some questions. What a rude time to ask them.
We do have questions that we're going to get to later in just a little bit. There is not a lot of Sporting KC news per se this week. Now, there was a rumor that Sporting KC was interested in MLS free agent defender Matt Hedges of FC Dallas. And so I looked right before we recorded this at the MLS free agent list. There's not a ton of people that jump out to me, but Matt Hedges, he's an experienced defender. I'm not sure that I would turn that down if there was at all any sort of legitimate interest there on his
I
part.
think there's also word of possible Toronto move or Cincinnati.
For Hedges?
Yeah. You
Okay.
know, and you start, I think either way, no matter what city you go to, cost of living is probably going to be low than other places, you know, but if you had him here at Sporting, I mean, you put him next to what? Put him next to Fontas and or fight for playing time with Courtney Ford. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I think that that's probably next to Fontas on the left, because Peter Vermees had told the Star not terribly long ago that right center back and a younger striker are two positions that he's specifically highlighting right now. I would have added defensive midfielder to that before they signed Nemanja Radoja. So since he's saying right center back, that leads me to believe that whether some people are going to like it or not, Fontas is probably the leader in the clubhouse in terms of starting at left center back.
Probably.
So
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe he has a freaking crazy year,
who
like he did
knows?
that one time. Man, you don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not judging him. He does some good things.
You're right. Tom Bogert had said that Sporting KC are interested, but also Toronto FC, San Jose, and FC Cincinnati are all pursuing him. And this is a couple of days old. We haven't heard anything. And by the time this comes out, who knows? That's sort of the nature of this type of thing.
Yeah.
Outside of him, I didn't see a lot of people. I mean, the other one, and I'm not sure that it's really realistic, but the only other guy that I saw there that I was like, that'd be kind of nice. I'd take Aaron Long, center back, experienced Red Bulls defender. He's out of contract. He's open to moves. He said, whether it's with here or Europe. I mean,
I'll take him. Yeah, of course,
sure.
Absolutely. I'll take free money. Whatever, you know.
I mean, MLS free agency is kind of weird because it's like, I forget what the rules are now. It changes every year, but you have to have so many years of service and what. So by the time you get to MLS free agency, typically you're oftentimes a little bit older.
It's fucked up. They're not even that old. Like you, oftentimes, sure, but sometimes you'll get lucky with a ripe 28-year-old.
Sure,
you know?
but I mean, like Aaron Long, he's not old, but he's 30, so it's not like you're getting a 26-year-old center back.
Right, like Graham Zusi's 35 and had free agency this year, and
right,
it's weird,
one of those.
Right?
It's one of those things in sports where it's like you talk about these people like their grandpas, and they're in like the prime of their life, like they have a long time ahead of them.
Graham's like, would you like to do this 100-yard sprint real fast? See who's a grandpa?
Right. So but Hedges and Long. Are either of them going to come? In all likelihood, no. But
it's tough to say. I don't know what is it. Like, we don't sell it to people within the league very well. Like, we don't sell the aspect of Kansas City, maybe.
Well, I mean,
what is that? I mean, we get a lot of players from outside the league.
It's hard because, I mean, Peter said it before, and we've talked about it before, and I think it probably more applies to international players than even players within the league. But it's hard to get people to Kansas City, and it's easy to sell them once you get them here.
Right.
You just got to get them here. And sometimes when their options are Kansas City or Miami or Kansas City or New York or LA or even Seattle, some of the coastal cities, whether right or wrong, tend to have an advantage there. And, I come from LA. I come from a coastal city. I love Kansas City. I wouldn't move back to LA for a variety of reasons. I think there's a lot more to do in Kansas City and a lot more things for going on in Kansas City's favor than people know. But
you think there's a lot more to do in Kansas City than there is in LA?
I didn't say that. I said there's a lot more to do in Kansas City than people know.
Oh, okay. Maybe I shut down right when you said that, because I was
no,
LA
I'm not making
has
stuff
like
up.
19 sports teams.
Yeah, but I mean, it takes you 4 hours to get there to go 10 miles sitting in traffic.
That's a bit frustrating. It is a little rough sometimes.
But I think Kansas City as a whole is doing better at marketing itself. I think the draft coming up this year, the NFL draft being in Kansas City will help. And I think the World Cup in 2026 will probably help too.
How about this? The ongoing Big 12 basketball tournament has always been a really great staple here.
Sure.
That brings in a lot of people regionally. So
sure. If you're a Big 12 college basketball fan, you know what Kansas City has to offer.
Have you ever gone?
I haven't, honestly, because
don't you buy like a whole day so you get like tickets to 4 games?
You can, yeah.
Sounds interesting.
SC's okay at college basketball now, but historically not great. So college
Right.
basketball's never been my jam so much.
You didn't
But
grow up really caring about that. Yeah.
yeah, so it's been well. I mean, we did make it to an Elite Eight once when I was in in the '90s when I was coming into my sports fandom, and then a couple years ago. But
I feel
uh,
you.
you know, we'll see. So, but Kansas City, I think, hopefully will get easier to sell. It's just it's still tough now compared to some of the other cities. But
Yeah. I feel
right
you.
center back or striker.
But it's also word of mouth from players too, right? Because
Oh, sure.
they're your biggest marketing executives is your players. They're gonna tell their friends like how happy they are. It's no
Right.
different than if you called me up and you're like, dude, I got a position open at work. It's really great, man. I think you'll be so
Mhm.
happy. Your life will be great, you know? I'd be like, all
Absolutely.
right, where do I apply?
Right. That's I mean, it's not what you know, it's who you know, whether that's right or wrong. So, but I mean, that's what happened with Rodoya and
Yeah.
Fontes, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened with Fontes and Ilie. And
Yeah.
it's
No.
like now we have the Ilie Sanchez tree of Sporting KC players.
But before Ilie, I mean, can you throw Uri into that
Uri, so
conversation?
maybe it's the Uri tree of Sporting KC players.
But and then you just continue to look at, oh man, it just goes down the chain. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's that Barca B pipeline to Sporting Kansas City.
I don't hate that. I think anyone would take that in their right mind.
We've gotten some decent play. I mean, Ilya, had a number of good years here.
Yeah,
Uri helped win MLS Cup. Fontes, the jury's still out on what his ultimate legacy will be here, but he's
I
got the
think it's
talent and the potential.
we're judging him a little too harshly sometimes. We need to be a little more open-minded and watch the little things that he does. You know what I mean?
I think the defense got better at the end of last season.
Yeah.
It started to find its way, and it helped everybody to have
Well,
Agata and Tommy in the lineup.
they felt more confident, man, because Voltaire didn't have to go forward and play that role.
Sure.
He could slide more back into that D mid because Tommy came in and was doing things. So defense wasn't as pressured as much.
Right, and I think that's something that people forget is we had a starting number 6 to start the year, and God knows what happened with Jose
Man,
Mari, and he just left and was never to be heard from
is
again, and
that
so,
buried? Will we'll never hear, right?
I mean, probably not at this point.
How's that not come out though? How
Just
does
like
that
when I mean,
everything comes out?
at a smaller scale, but, like, there was a falling out of some sort with Kevin Ellis when he left, and we never really heard what happened,
I have my
so
theories.
well, there are rumors, but not fit for air.
Hey,
None
isn't
of it's
he
confirmed.
playing for the Comets now?
He was doing something with the Comets. I don't know if he's still playing or not, but
Oh, okay. I thought he was rocking some indoor, and I'm like,
it could be.
that's a fast man's game, dude.
Jason Sudeikis, Ted Lasso was at a Comets game just the other
I know.
day.
We should go. How
It's
far is that from you?
wild. Independence, it's not far.
It's not bad.
No,
We
it's
should
like
get out to a game
15 minutes.
sometime. Grab Chris
Absolutely.
or something. Grab the
Do it.
ladies. Let's head up there.
The Comets follow us on Twitter. Let's do it. I'm sure they'd help us.
They do. That'd be fun.
I think Jose Mari not being there, I'm fascinated to see what this defense could do. A
Yeah.
healthy Fontas with a quality right center back next to him behind Rodoya. If Rodoya can be, you know, anywhere close to what Ilie or classic Uri was, a quality number 6, I think that will immensely help the defense this year.
This is gonna be a weird year, man, because the signings, like the big announcements were like re-signing Zusi, Espinoza, and Fontas. And it's kind of like, okay. Sounds good. So you're saying we're happy with where we were and we're not trying to get super flashy. You know what I mean?
I mean, our big signings kind of were Tommy and Agata. We just got them 6 months early. And then
Yeah,
the
good
big
point.
additions, if you will, are getting your 2 designated players back in Polito and Gotti Kinda.
Good point. I mean, and I think a lot of people, you read a lot of the work, the pundits out there, the dum dums who do the email blast, stuff like that. You read a lot of that stuff, and you can take on their thoughts too, or you can vehemently disagree with them. And
Sure.
sometimes I think I allow their thoughts to get in. I'm like, okay, I could see that. And it's like, wait, you've forgotten about Tommy and Agata, and me reading this has made me forget. You son of a bitch.
Right. I mean, Sporting KC's not going to get a Gareth Bale. We're not going to get a Luis Suarez or a Lionel Messi to come
Yeah.
like Miami is rumored to get.
Well, maybe when we whoop Messi's ass when he's here, then he'll be like, oh, I probably should have played for them.
But look at some of the signings at Miami, or I mean, at LAFC, it kind of worked out, even though Bale, he played at the end, obviously, and played a key role in winning MLS Cup in terms of scoring the game-tying goal, but he didn't start that game. Inter Miami, they signed Gonzalo Higuain, one of the best goal scorers in the history of the game, and he goes on a tear at the end of the season. And what did it get them? Sneaking into the playoffs and ending at Citi Field in the playoffs in New York.
Good times.
So sometimes Blaise Matuidi was this all-everything midfielder who might have been past his prime, but all he did was get Inter Miami in trouble for breaking roster rules.
What a great name, though. My God, what a great name. Doesn't sound real.
Yeah. It's not always about the big name, and I think that's what I'm excited to see for Sporting KC this year. We had a question from Richard Sanchez. We also had an email from Richard Sanchez. We'll get to you in a minute.
We got a question and an email? Wow, Richard. Thirsty much?
He said, what are the top things we need to happen for this upcoming season to be successful? And I think it's just keep doing what we were doing at the end of last year, shore up that right back position, have a healthy Polito and Kinda, and we're set, man.
Pick up where you left off, man. I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic, despite reading people telling me why I shouldn't be optimistic. I don't know. It just something feels good, and that's a danger. That's a sign of danger to come.
It does. I feel like everybody every year, and this isn't shade at MLSsoccer.com pundits or whatnot, but I feel like every year they're always like, Sporting, they'll probably be in the playoffs, but they probably won't do anything. Like there's a little bit of expectation because of the reputation of we are typically competitive,
right.
But nobody ever expects Sporting KC to win it. And I think that's probably going to be the case this year.
Right. But it's kind of like KU always, kind of being expected to make the Final Four every year.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Not really to win it, but, at least get in the conversation.
They'll be there. And this year, I think, is truly a year that, barring injury, which clearly derailed us last year, and if you can find that proper right center back to play next to Fontes, probably.
Might be Courtney Ford, yeah.
Honestly, the biggest question for me outside of all of that is what happens at the goalkeeper position? Do we have Melia return to a 2020, 2021 form?
Wait, did we sign Melia again?
Whoa, that's a good question. I thought he was still under contract, but I thought we had him for another year.
You might want to fact check that one. I don't know. We do a lot of Googling right here live.
Yeah, Melia is signed through the 2024 season.
Oh, they just gave him an extension then, right? Like this year?
This was in February.
What is happening?
What is going on?
What is going on? Am I thinking expansion draft? Am I thinking the fact that he was left unprotected? I feel like I'm losing my mind right now.
I think so. I mean, this was back in November when they announced their roster moves. They signed Melia to a 2-year deal through 2024.
Oh, so it did just
it was after the year, but he's under contract right now. So he's back. So they had not yet. They announced that they were negotiating with Zusi and Roger and
So I'm not insane.
So you're right. After the season, he was out of contract, but they quickly signed a new one for 2 more seasons.
Jimmy, I was losing.
We're both right.
I was losing it. I know, but you made it sound like, oh my God, I was getting so scared. I was like, I'm sounding like an idiot.
No, we're both right.
You ever listen to a podcast where they're like, they have their producer Google something while they continue talking? And I was like, hey, we could do that. Put Tucker to work.
Tucker's got too much.
But I'm like, but why not? Why not just watch Jimmy Google shit? It works fine.
And now that we're on video, everybody can see me Google it too.
Hey, they were hearing your tappy all the time.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens at the goalkeeper position because Melia clearly did not live up to the Melia rep in 2020, and then he ended the season injured and didn't come back. And Pulskamp had a hell of a stretch.
He did. So, he had some big stops on some big strikers, man. How about stopping that Chicharito Panenka? And we were there in person.
Oh my God.
We didn't even win, and it felt like we won. We drew that game.
Panenka hit right down the middle, and
for the win, that would have won.
Stayed there.
He just stonewalled him. And Chicharito's like, sorry, fans. And they're throwing daggers of booze. They were so mad. And we were drinking it in. Schadenfreude. to the max, bro. It was so good.
That was fun. That was a fun one.
That was a blast. It was hot.
It was hot. So we'll see what happens. I'm curious. I think you don't sign Melia to a 2-year deal with no intention of at least giving him a fair competition.
You get a healthy Melia in there, and he might just win that position back. You know what I mean? They'll have a battle in preseason.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of penalties, Pulskamp obviously did well to stop the Panenka, but there's been so many penalty shootouts in the World Cup, and you see some of these goalkeepers, for the Netherlands, Noppert. I mean, I felt bad for him. He's 6'8". He's like a transformer, but he's guessing the wrong way every time. So there's nothing he can do.
Yeah.
It makes you realize how fortunate you are to have a keeper like Tim Melia, who historically, and it's beyond a fluke at this point, but historically has saved around 50% of penalty kicks that he takes, which is about 80% is typical penalty conversion rate. So
yeah,
he is far and above what
beast, man.
average is.
He's a beast. I'd love to get him back on here and talk to him about his injury rehab and stuff. Okay. And we haven't had him on since our new format here. So
that's true. We'll get him back on. I'm sure maybe before the season starts, we can get him on.
That'd be fun. Him and Peter right before.
There you go. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But thank you for the question, Richard. We also saw your email. Happy birthday.
Oh, he wanted some He wanted some wishes?
He wanted some birthday wishes. So
okay. Happy birthday, Richie. Yeah. It's he's been with us for a long time, man. So appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Tell us what's going on with Dana White and Daniel Shalhoub.
Oh, okay.
You had to bring this to my attention.
I thought you saw this. It was very funny. Apparently Dana White said something. I don't have it pulled up right now, but he said that soccer's very overrated. Anyone can score. He said anyone can score 3 points with a net that big. And I was just thinking, like, do you mean 3 goals, or do you mean like anyone can win a match? Like, what the hell is that?
He even knows what he's saying. He's a troll.
He's kind of brain dead sometimes. I mean, he runs UFC, so that's okay. He passes. But I think Daniel Shalhoub retweeted him and he said, okay, I hit a kid in 3rd grade one time. Does that mean I can be an ultimate fighter? Because Dana White said that's why it's a kid's game, because you just run around and kick a ball.
I have the exact quote here. It's Dana White says, "Can't stand soccer. I think it's the least talented sport on earth. There's a reason 3-year-olds can play soccer, okay? You run around and kick a ball. Do you know how untalented you have to be to score 3 points when the net is this big?" And then
do you know how untalented you have to be to score a touchdown when the end zone's that big? Look at all that space down there.
I know you're fired up. You were
I am
giving it to me via text message, and I was like, I'm not Dana White.
Is hit it to the grass in baseball, because there's only 3 outfielders out there, so you're good. It's huge.
Yeah, Daniel goes, if I could punch another kid when I was in kindergarten, that means I could be in UFC today. So it's just
it doesn't make a lick of sense. Dana White's just very, very stupid. I don't think anyone expects him to tweet informative points. And how come everyone thinks it's cool to like hate on soccer, like can't stand soccer? No one asked you, bro. It's like racists that say they can't stand a certain race, and it's like, you didn't have to say that. You didn't have to even put that out there.
There's no one asked you. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why particularly American sports fans are like, soccer sucks, it's so boring. And then soccer fans get really defensive and we're like, well, actually there's more action in soccer games than there is in the average NFL game. And
have you seen these NFL scores? Those are way more boring than any soccer I've been watching. Like 10-3 or whatever. Like, what are we doing?
Tom Brady's offense and taking that.
Tom Brady, and you need to be watching Patrick Mahomes, because he'll score 27 points and then allow 27 points right after that. It's a wild time watching these guys.
But hey, shout out to Daniel for sticking up for the sport we all know and love.
Very funny. I think Daniel like watches fighting as well, so he's probably just like,
fighting's not it obviously takes talent to be a fighter. It takes talent to be a soccer player. It takes talent. And that's why I don't understand. I'm like, can't we all just it's the same thing with like the Apple iPhone versus Android fight. I'm like, what if we all just let people use the phones that they prefer to use? Or what if we just let people watch the sport they prefer to watch? And it's not that serious.
We had a group chat with you, me, and Chris, and the first thing you said was, Chris with his Android over here.
Yeah, the green bubble's got to go.
Can't we all just get along? iPhones shaking the hands of androids. Fucking Chris and his android.
It's green bubble text. That might be Apple's fault, but that's for another podcast. Apple could fix that if they want to.
Oh my lord.
Anywho, that's my soapbox. Speaking of all getting along, who's not getting along is Greg Berhalter and Giovanni Reyna.
Yeah. So, Gio Reyna had to come to his own defense today.
This is the wild saga that nobody asked for in U.S. soccer drama.
No one cares what's going on.
It could have gone away, except people keep making it worse.
Yeah.
It apparently started the TLDR. Too long didn't read. Is
that's what that means.
For those of you who don't know,
feeling old over here.
Obviously, Gio didn't play in the first game against Wales, and people are like, what the heck? Greg was like, he's got a little bit of hamstring tightness. And then Gio, after the game's like, I'm totally good. And we're like, okay, something weird's coming on. And then he played a few minutes in the England game, and then I think came on in the second half against Iran.
Right.
Or no, I don't remember. He might have played a few minutes against Iran and came on in the second half against the Netherlands.
Yeah, it was Netherlands.
He didn't play all that much.
No, not as much as people would have liked, because that man is quick.
Right, and people are like, what's going on? And there's rumors flying out around, he and Greg aren't getting along, and Eric Wijnaldum's getting in there and whatnot. Well, then Greg Berhalter goes to some sort of a leadership summit or whatnot. I don't remember the exact
in place. Qatar?
No, he's back in the States here. He's in New York City
right now.
Yeah, no, they came back fast. He went to some sort of a leadership summit in New York City, and Berhalter says, unprompted, he's talking about leadership of some sort. An example I can give you: in the last World Cup, we had a player that was clearly not meeting expectations on and off the field. One of 26 players, so it stood out. As a staff, we sat together for hours deliberating what we are going to do with this player. We were ready to book a plane ticket home. That's how extreme it was.
Wow.
And what it came down to is we're going to have one more conversation with him, and part of the conversation was how we're going to behave from here on out. There aren't going to be any more infractions. But the other thing we said to him was, you're going to have to apologize to the group, but it's going to have to say why you're apologizing. It's going to have to go deeper than I'm sorry. And I prepped the leadership group with this. I said, okay, this guy's going to apologize to you as a group, to the whole team. And what was fantastic in this whole thing is that after he apologized, they stood up one by one and said, listen, it hasn't been good enough. You haven't been meeting our expectations of a teammate, and we want to see that change. They took ownership of the process, and from that day on, there were no issues with this player. So Greg's airing a little bit of laundry, right? But he didn't say, two words you don't hear anywhere in that statement, Gio Reyna, right?
No, he didn't say words, but come on, everyone kind of knows.
Well, then it was going to come out. You have to know it's going to come out. Tom Boger's out there. He goes, this is Gio Reyna. I know from sources. You have The Athletic out there that had a story they were going to publish. They paused it due to what happened with Grant. And then they came out and they were like, Gio Reyna's lack of effort in training and scrimmage versus a Qatari club contributed to his role at the World Cup. Now Gio Reyna's out there making a statement basically saying that he's disappointed and hope not to comment on this. He put out a huge long thing on Instagram, but he's defending himself and he goes, I acknowledge this and I wish it was happen. I wish it happened differently, but I'm disappointed that there's continuing coverage as well as some highly fictionalized versions of the events, and I'm extremely surprised that anyone on the U.S. men's team staff would contribute to it. Man, now,
okay,
I don't know what developments have happened since we recorded this, but
I think that he I hope he takes it and he uses it as fuel for 2026, because he could be one hell of a player. I did hear that no one, anyone who knows him in Germany, he plays for Dortmund, doesn't he?
Yes.
They're like, no, no problems with him.
Well, there have been some rumors of him being young and immature, but what's interesting is if you look at some of the players who are liking Gio Reyna's Instagram post.
This is the content we're here for. I listened to Extra Time today. Yeah. And they were saying this too, and they were like, "Is this what we're really doing?" And I was like, "Hey, man, they're stealing our shtick. We would do that."
Matt Turner, Tim Ream, Ricardo Pepi, Mark McKenzie, Jordan Pifok, George Bello, Joe Scally. These are U.S. men's national team players.
Someone said that someone liked it and then like withdrew their like. I don't remember who it was.
It's just, this is like high school drama that, of course, this is what would happen to the U.S. men's national team after a World Cup. But
who cares? What do we care right now?
Because Greg's in the middle of a contract negotiation, and if you're losing, whether Gio, what probably happened, Gio got upset, didn't behave well. They talked to him, they moved on. There you have it. U.S. Soccer's mad because they said that this statement that Greg made at this summit was explicitly off the record, quote unquote. You got to know, if you say this at a conference, it's going to get out there. Someone's going to tweet it.
Absolutely.
Can't do that. So whether Gio behaved well or not, I mean, he's going to be one of the key players 3.5 years from now.
Sure.
You got to figure it out.
You got to figure it out.
I don't know where we go from here. I don't think this helps Greg's sort of case to stick around. I think at a certain point, you just might have to say, you know what, thanks. And just for the sake of everybody, we're moving on.
Yeah, probably so.
But
we'll keep an eye on all the juice, because that it sounds absolutely stupid.
This is like freaking Degrassi, U.S. men's national team version.
I can't even believe it's something we have to talk about, but it's gonna like blow up, and people will be like, "Why didn't you guys talk about it?" And it's like, I guess we thought it was stupid.
I mean, this is such a 2022 like controversy where and this happens in sports. It's like whenever like transfer season comes up, you have all the different fan accounts and they're like, well, okay, this plane landed here and it's taking off to go there, which means this player might be on this plane to get here. And this person liked this tweet, which means they're probably going there.
You're not wrong. Over on Currently, Chris texted me and said, so-and-so just followed Allison Howard, the current president. See? And then she signed. It's insane.
Sometimes it's nothing, and sometimes it's something.
But who's taking the time to keep an eye on people's follows? That's crazy.
Somebody out there's doing it.
What is your hobby? Some people play Xbox. Some people read books. Some people stay on Twitter to see who's following who.
Apparently.
No, that's wild, dude.
I mean,
do you got time for that?
No,
you're a very busy man.
No.
It's insane.
I barely have time to do anything.
It's pulling teeth to get you on here.
It's I don't know, but somebody's doing it. And man, if you need to solve a crime or a murder or a mystery, find a soccer fan who's on Twitter, and they'll at least get you a theory to start with based on who's following and liking somebody.
Yeah, that's some criminal mind shit.
It's wild. Like, I imagine it's like the Charlie Day board where it's like all the strings and the papers and everything from Always Sunny, where he's like coming up with all the theories. This person followed this person and this person like that, and this is what it means. So
hilarious.
It's wild, but here we are. U.S. soccer. This is exactly what you want to happen after a relatively successful World Cup in 3 years before you're hosting it and everything. Yeah. This is what you want to be dealing with.
That's the conversation right now surrounding the organization. That's what we care about.
Yep.
Very cool.
Awesome. So let's see here. We got another question via email from one of our listeners, Steve. And Steve sent this a few days ago. We told him we would stick around or keep it around for this week's episode. And he says, hey guys, one of the selling points that have been offered about the switch to Apple TV is that MLS can create more original content. They've already said they will have pre and post game shows, but if you could pitch an idea that you knew would get greenlit, what would it be? Personally, I would love a Welcome to Wrexham style show about multiple teams, as well as a balanced recap show each week. Thank you for your amazing contributions to SKC fandom. I'm a fairly new SKC fan, and listening to your pod really helped me grow my excitement for the team.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
That's
awesome.
I'm like racking my brain now. I'm like, original content. You think like reality shows, competition shows, like, maybe a player cooking segment or something, there's just so many things out there. I hope there is a good weekly recap show, like something that airs on like 8:00 Friday nights or something like that. Because I'd watch it. That's a great way to catch up on your highlights and shit, because ESPN's not showing all of that.
They did for a little bit on ESPN Plus. Taylor Twellman had the MLS Rewind show, which I thought was decent,
sure.
and that died pretty quick.
Yeah. It's going to die if people aren't watching it or if you're not hearing about it.
Yeah, well, in ESPN Plus, like they just needed content early, and sometimes it's hard to find some of that stuff in the ESPN Plus setup. If there's an MLS specific section of however Apple sets it up, I think it could be successful.
I think there will be, man. I think if Apple TV is throwing this kind of money at this, I'm very happy with Apple TV Plus. It's a great platform. So I think it's just going to be, this is good for all parties involved. Unless you don't have Apple TV right now or you're not a season ticket holder,
right?
You probably think it's fucking stupid.
Well, I mean, even if you have Apple TV Plus right now, it's still going to cost an additional fee to get
There's like an add-on,
but
the season ticket members, man, that's where it's at. And what you do, I mean, why wouldn't you guys just share with your friends like everyone else does?
Well, did you see what the Seattle Sounders just did? They launched like their Sounders digital membership, they called it, which comes with season tickets and Apple, whatever this Apple MLS package will be called. But then it also comes with like some other perks, discounts, and premier priority access to certain things or whatnot. So it's kind of like an enhanced season ticket membership, which makes me wonder if sporting might do something similar.
It's kind of neat.
So
you still get season tickets and stuff?
Yeah. It was
some extra perks, huh? That's cool.
All part of it. Let me see here. Speaking of me searching for something,
probably a
Sounders digital membership.
Probably a limited number available and stuff. And
Seattle Sounders launched new digital membership ahead of the 2023 season. I lied. Hold on. It doesn't get season tickets.
Oh,
but
okay.
You get a subscription to MLS Season Pass, pre-sale access for playoff and single match tickets, access to away match tickets for out-of-market fans.
There you go.
Pre-sale opportunities for things at Lumen Field, a digital membership card, 10% off at MLS.store.com products, and additional benefits inside the Sounders app. So all of this is for $110 instead of the whatever it is, $90 that you would normally get it for. So it's a little bit more, but you get some of those additional perks. So it's interesting.
That's fine. So you wouldn't, if you don't have season tickets but still want that package, why not?
Yeah. Now I know Sporting KC has done on YouTube. They're sort of like, what's it called, Behind the Shield or whatnot, which is Wrexham-ish. I guess
that's a cool kind of thing. It's more like an NFL Films 2-minute highlight package deal.
Yeah, and I guess that's one thing that
Liev Schreiber talking about,
sort of like Hard Knocks type deal.
Right.
That could be kind of cool if you really had unfettered. Now, granted, Hard Knocks is not truly unfettered access. There's very particular edits that are shown and not shown in those, but still, it gives the illusion at least of unfettered access. It'd be kind of cool to see that.
Well, we don't have an all or nothing like Prime Video does for these European teams, and it's such a good deep dive, and they kind of follow them along throughout the whole season. So I think it'd be really cool if Apple TV is doing some kind of all or nothing with a specific team right out the gate and just follows them throughout the whole year.
Yeah, I mean it could be similar to like Last Chance U would come out on Netflix and it'd be about the season prior, but you still get invested in the storylines and the characters.
You still watch that?
I haven't watched the last season or so, but I was real into it for a couple of years.
Last Chance U basketball drops today. So
okay. Well, there you go. So there's a couple ideas that can be there. I think a rewind show. I love the idea of a whip around show, which I think they're going to be doing.
Yeah, that's what
kind of like a Red Zone style channel.
Yeah.
I'd love two personalities that I think do a real good job, but don't get to talk about MLS. Well, obviously, the MLS games explicitly as often as I'd like. Hercules Gomez and Sebastian Salazar do a real good job playing off each other. I wouldn't be surprised to see them have a show on there.
Right.
So, and who knows? Maybe our buddies the Cooligans get on there.
That's a possibility as well. You never know.
And if they get on there, obviously they're bringing us on as guests.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
We're the first guests, right?
So doubtful.
Alexis,
very
Christian,
doubtful.
get on it.
No way.
Let's go. If you need a sporting expert, we'll hop on there. I'd be so scared.
You would?
I'd be nervous.
It's all virtual now, man. No one can judge you through a computer screen.
Last thing, I guess, since I kind of want to mention as a rumor that's going around is you see that there's speculation that the 2024 Copa America is going to be hosted here in the United States, and that the U.S., Canada, and Mexico would take part?
Yeah, are we? We don't always take part in that, do we?
We have before, but no, it's typically it's the South American version of the Gold Cup.
Right, and we don't typically do that. I think I've seen it happen before.
Yeah,
sometime, but
we did it a time or two ago. It wasn't long ago that we were in it, but
so we'll probably host a game here.
Probably, yeah. In
It's
preparation
possible.
for the World Cup coming, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I like this because
Okay.
we're probably going to play better competition in the Copa America than we would be in the Gold Cup.
Yeah, and that's just a warm up for World Cup.
Exactly.
Getting you some good competition and learning some stuff.
I think it's important that we play teams like Uruguay or Argentina or Brazil, Chile, not necessarily the Trinidad and Tobago's or the Curaçao's and nothing against these teams, but these aren't the World Cup quality teams that we need to be competing against to get ready to potentially compete in a World Cup.
Good point.
So it's it'll be an interesting opportunity to see if our younger players can continue to progress.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, the World Cup is we're recording this before the Argentina-Croatia game, and then obviously today on Wednesday, people can watch the France-Morocco game. I think obviously Argentina and France are the odds-on favorites at this point, right? For the final
favorites, which makes me think you got to root for Croatia and Morocco. I mean, that's just.
Can you imagine how mad Fox executives would be if Croatia and Morocco made the final?
It'll probably be France and Argentina, France in there again, or France and Croatia. That'll be the same as it was, We're
going to look real dumb if Croatia somehow pulled it out against Argentina, since we recorded before this game. But I mean, hey, Messi versus Mbappe, that's a pretty, the past versus the future. That's a pretty awesome storyline.
That should have been a final probably, and that final will be on Sunday. So
yeah,
we'll see who gets the whole thing.
Yeah. Are you pulling for Croatia or Morocco, one more than the other?
Just for, Morocco, probably.
Okay.
But.
Well, I'll take Croatia then.
I think France will probably go. I mean, Black Lives Matter. And I just think like, African nations and stuff, you really want to support them, But if you want to support your white Croatian, that's fine.
Thank you for that. Wonderful way to end that one.
It is tough though I get this. I got a buddy who lives in Brazil, and he is devastated, by the way, absolutely gutted, and he's like crying. So I didn't rub it in. I was like, big hugs to you,
because it's like they deeply, deeply care more than we ever could.
It's like Catholicism. It's insane. And he was telling me that he was asking me who I support, and I mentioned all these European teams. He's like, why so many white guys? And I was like, God, because I am, and that's bad. Okay. I don't know. So how about I go for Cameroon and Morocco? God damn it.
We'll see what happens. Honestly,
he also told me there's rumors of Josie Altidore coming down there, and he asked me what my opinion was of Josie Altidore. I was like, he had like 4 double-digit goal-scoring seasons in Toronto.
Yeah.
And then kind of fell off the wagon. Big
Injuries.
Bull. Yeah, powerful. I said if he was a backup striker, I'd take him on my team.
Sure.
So, but I think there's rumors he's going to Vasco, which is the Portuguese second division.
If Argentina does make the final, we might have to talk to our boy Kevin from SKC Fan TV and
we want all that.
His reaction.
He'll get on here and be a little too wild.
Well, I think either way, whether Argentina wins or Argentina loses, it's going to make for great content.
It could, he's always he's a screamer.
Drink his tears, or he'll be on here,
his tears,
streaking across the screen in joy.
We will not have a streaker, but I will. I'd drink some Messi tears. That's good stuff.
Honestly, I'm kind of pulling for Messi a little bit.
I don't know why.
Because I don't like Ronaldo.
But he's gone.
Ronaldo. I know, but if Messi could get a World Cup in his sort of, basket of accomplishments, then that is a pretty big feather in the cap of greatest of all time.
He ain't shit until he gets an MLS Cup, all right? Well, seriously, that's what matters. He'll get it with Miami, probably.
We'll see. Miami's still doing crazy stuff with their roster. So
Miami's weird. Are we ever going to play them? That's what I want to know. Are we ever going to get scheduled?
Get down there, go for a little mini vacation, hop on a cruise ship.
Do some cocaine.
Well, when in Rome, when in Miami.
When in Miami, I suppose.
No, that's one thing that I will not be doing.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good.
But yeah, so we'll see. It's an exciting. I mean, if France wins, it's back-to-back championships. So I guess that's an interesting storyline. If Argentina wins, it's Messi's first time. If Croatia gets to the final, it's trying to avenge their loss. And if Morocco gets there, it's the Cinderella story. So there's a storyline either way.
Morocco's so much more fun. Like, that just sounds awesome. And these guys are having a good time.
Yeah. So
also, there's white guys on Morocco. So I was like, what?
I mean, hey, there's people from all over. All sorts
I didn't get it at first. I didn't get it.
Anybody can be from anywhere. You don't know. So
that's true. That's true. But that's just how it is. You don't see, I was surprised when Casey Curran's goalkeeper got called to Jamaica and she's a white girl. I was like, what?
It happened. Hey, there's, like I said, anybody can be from anywhere. You don't know.
Get it. I'll never understand. So, indigenous.
But that's about all I have for this week. You got anything else for our good listeners?
Not really. No. Yeah, man. Let's get out of here.
Well, thank you all so much for listening. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NoOtherPod, at Dan Kooser, at JCMac03. Shoot us an email, nootherpod@gmail.com, and check out our merch store. If you need a last-minute holiday gift, I'm sure you can pay for some expedited shipping, or maybe it'll get there in time. I don't know. bit.ly.com/nootherpod for the No Other Pod fan in your life. But until next time, he's Dan. I'm Jimmy. We'll catch y'all later. See ya.
My birthday's on Saturday. Buy me stuff.